So in this video I'm going to explain why stats are so important when judging players in the modern game, specifically referencing Anton Stach, whilst also analysing him as a player, whether he's the right style of player for what Amorim's midfield needs, and whether he could be the perfect player to play as a central centre-back in the back three. So straight off the bat, I will admit that when I first watched Anton Stach, he did look like a decent player, but he wasn't someone who caught my eye. That is until I went over and looked at his FB ref report, and I realised what a unique player he was. And I'm going to show you his FB ref report from this season in just a minute, but why exactly is he so unique? Well, one of the reasons is because of his versatility, as this season for Hoffenheim in the Bundesliga, Stach has played as a central midfielder 14 times, with Hoffenheim mostly using a 4-2-3-1 system, but he has also been used 8 times as a central centre-back in a back three when Hoffenheim used more of a 3-4-3 or a 3-5-2. And this versatility is derived from Stach's skill set, as he's highly competent off of both feet, whether this is circulating the ball efficiently or switching play with a long pass. I wouldn't describe him as a deeper-lying playmaker in possession, as I don't think he quite has the incisive passing ability, disguised technique or the creativity from deeper areas to play this type of role that you would associate with someone like Angelo Stiller or Bruno Fernandes currently. But I do think he is better in possession than Ugarte, who is a fairly good circulator of the ball in terms of his shorter passing, but he's not as comfortable receiving the ball under pressure or when playing quick 1 and 2 touch passes as Anton Stach is. But we can start to see Stach's qualities a bit clearer when we go over and look at his FB ref report. But before I go any further, if you want to check out any cheap, good quality football jerseys, go over to jerseyfifa.co. You can check out their current season and retro shirts from both international and club sides. My personal favourite jersey of all time is also available on the site, is this 2006-2007 Manchester United home jersey. It's from the year where Ronaldo won his first Premier League title, and also the PFA Player of the Year. From the exact same season, you can also get this Kaká AC Milan shirt, with this year being the year that Kaká would win the Ballon d'Or ahead of both Messi and Ronaldo. If you use coupon code ATLANTIS at checkout, you will get a discount for a limited time, so I'll leave it linked in the description and in the comments section below. So when we look at Stach's FB ref report, we can see that when we compare him specifically against every other midfielder in Europe's top 5 leagues over the past 365 days, he ranks around the 50th to 70th percentile range for his expected assists, passes into the final third and penalty area, his switches and through balls, as well as his overall progressive passes. But it's defensively where we see how good Anton Stach is. As well as from the eye test, he doesn't seem to have the athleticism, physicality or tenacity of players like Ederson or Ugarte. When you look at the defensive section of his FB ref report, you can start to see why he's a slightly different style of ball winner. As like Ederson, he does rank very highly for the percentage of dribblers he has tackled, and also like Ederson, he ranks around average for the dribblers he is challenging and tackling, showing that he isn't necessarily a very aggressive and tenacious front foot defender as Ugarte is, but that certainly isn't to say that he isn't a high volume defender as well, as he ranks in the 83rd percentile for his blocks completed, the 93rd percentile for his interceptions, and the 99th for his clearances, which brings me on to why stats are so important when analysing individual players. And that's because originally when watching clips of Stach, I didn't initially pick up how good his reading of the game was, but after looking at his FB ref report, it's almost undeniable because of how highly he's ranking. And that's when I realised that whilst Ugarte and Ederson's defensive abilities are evident because they are either jumping out quickly to make interceptions, flying into 50-50s aggressively, or racing back on recovery before putting in a solid sliding tackle, which are all what you would regard as eye-catching parts of the game, Stach's defensive qualities come from his ability to read the game a second or so before everyone else, and this makes him excellent at getting to loose balls first and moving across into positions quickly, where he doesn't have to fly in recklessly into a challenge, but instead can put in a strong standing tackle to win the ball back, and then move the ball on quickly to keep play circulating efficiently. And so overall, I think Anton Stach would be a good option if we could get him for the right price. Not necessarily even as a central midfielder, even though I think he could play either in a double pivot in place of Ugarte, or in a midfield three as the single pivot. But as a central centre-back in the back three, I think Stach comes into the United squad as by far our best option, at least in possession anyway. And that's because of how he would improve Amorim's build-up strategy. But before I come on to that, is he good enough for what United need in central midfield? Well, if he was playing central midfield alone, I don't think Stach is the right signing, at least on his own. Don't get me wrong, I think he would be a decent signing, but I don't think he's a massive improvement on Ugarte overall. As well as I do think he's slightly better in terms of his ability to thread passes between the lines, receive the ball under pressure, and switch play with long passes, he isn't exactly a Zubimendi, Adam Walton or an Angelo Stiller. He's tidy, efficient and effective, with his best attributes coming out of possession in defensive situations. And so I think his skill set is a bit too similar to Agate's to warrant buying for a central midfield role alone. I prefer someone like Manu Kone, who is by far a superior ball carrier, something that I think United's central midfield desperately needs, or even someone like Hayden Hackney, who already in the Championship looks like he could have the potential to develop into an elite level passer, with his incisive passing between the lines and through balls in behind the back line being his standout attributes that Stach doesn't have to the same level. However, as a central centre-back, Anton Stach would be a lot more comfortable than either Maguire or De Ligt when pushing to the edge of the box during the build-up phase, and I think if Amorim insists on having the central centre-back being the player to sit on the edge of the box at the top of the diamond with the two wide centre-backs holding deeper positions in a back three with the keeper, then someone like Stach is going to be essential, because unlike De Ligt, Maguire, Euro and even Agate as well, Stach has the awareness and the agility to be able to move quickly over shorter distances in order to open up passing lanes, to allow the goalkeeper and centre-back to split the forward line press, which is critical to being able to play through the centre of the press, which is ideally what United should be looking to do, as firstly by playing through the centre you have more options available because you can go either side, compared with building up out wide with the wing-back receiving the ball close to the touchline in a deep position on the flank where he can be penned in with the opposition squeezing across and his options limited by an aggressive man-to-man press, cutting off his passing lanes inside and eventually either forcing the wing-back or wide centre-back into a rush long ball up the line. Now Stach isn't rapid, I don't think he's as quick as someone like Lenny Yoro, but I think he is quick enough to function in a high line, and whilst I wouldn't describe him as an aerially dominant centre-back, for a midfielder his stats show that he ranks in the 94th percentile for the percentage of aerial duels he has won, and even when compared to centre-backs to be fair, he still ranks pretty highly, in the 74th percentile, completing 65% of his aerial duels, and so as a central centre-back, of course he's not going to be as aerially dominant as someone like Harry Maguire, but he's still more than good enough to hold his own, both aerially and physically. Stach is 26 years old and has a contract at Hoffenheim until 2027 and was signed in 2023 for just 11 million euros, which is about £8 million, and so come this summer he should be attainable for a decent enough fee. There are also reports that Hoffenheim, who are just 6 points above the relegation playoff place in the Bundesliga, would ask for between 15 to 20 million euros, which is about 12.5 to 16 million pounds this summer, and if United could get Stach for around 15 million pounds, the price is such that even if he doesn't come into the United squad as a starter, he'd still be a good signing, not just because of his ball-playing ability at central centre-back, specifically in the build-up phase, but also because he'd provide the versatility of two players in one. He can be used as a ball-playing improvement at central centre-back as an alternative to Maguire or De Ligt, or as a ball-winning midfielder in a double pivot, or in a three as a single pivot as essentially an Agate alternative. And so overall, how highly do I rate Stach? Well, I'd value him at around £25 million, so considering he'd be available for probably £10 million under that, he does constitute a very good deal. I don't think on current ability he's good enough to be the only central midfielder that United signed this summer, as I do think we need at least one elite level ball carrier like an Edison or a Manu Kone, but as a central centre-back for that price, I think he's a steal, as that particular role requires a centre-back central midfield hybrid, which Anton Stach is, and even though in a video a few weeks back I suggested Leslie Ugachukwu for that role, I'll leave that video linked in the eye above. Considering he would cost around £30 million, I think Anton Stach at around £15 million is definitely the better option, even though I do think Ugachukwu's potential is higher than Stach, who isn't exactly young, 26, 27 in November. However, given United's budget, £15 million on a central centre-back who can quite comfortably also play in central midfield is a great option. But in a video that should be out in the next few days, I'm going to be analysing one young South American who has been linked with Manchester United, who I think could excel in this role, as well as a more expensive Sergio Ramos regen from the continent who I think would be ideal. So if you do want to see that video, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click the bell so you do get notified when it comes out. Also, if you want to pick up any cheap, good quality football jerseys, go over to jerseyfifa.co. I'll leave it linked in the description and in the comments section below, and you can use code Atlantis at checkout for a discount for a limited time. But if you do want to sign up to my Patreon to read the articles or join the in-game Instagram group chat, I'll leave that linked on the end screen now as well.